Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Senor Nerd Podcast. As always, I have here with me Ramon,
So,
Raul,
Howdy, howdy.
and we're here to talk about episode 4 of Demon Slayer, the new season. And man, dude, this episode pissed the fuck out of me. And the reason why it pissed me off is because it ended way too soon. It ended before I could get off, and everybody knows that it's rude to finish before your other individual gets off on whatever you guys are doing. So, it really pissed me off. So, Ramon, Ro, I don't know if you guys got to finish, but I definitely didn't as I was watching this episode.
I mean, definitely did not. It was definitely really enjoyable, like so enjoyable. And then oh man, and you guys had been texting me earlier already about how it was like you Carlos, you were the first one. It's like, oh man, it just felt me left. Like it cut me off, couldn't finish. And then in general, Raul, you were saying the same thing too. Felt kind of a little bit short. And I see what you mean because it's obviously we're watching kind of a prolonged fight. And even just the hesitance of kind of like talking about it in a sense, I'm like, man, I was gushing over the scenes that I didn't even care by the end of it. I'm like, let's just talk about it. Let's screw it. Let's just talk about it. It was so good.
Yeah, dude, yeah, because like the last episode to me felt longer than this one, and I couldn't tell you if maybe they did kind of trick us and made this a little bit shorter than normal. Because I think the time for it was only 22 minutes, so that is kind of short, man. A little bit, not enough for me to again get off.
No, but you know what? Like I think it because in the last episode there were like a few different scenes and a few different things that happened, and in this episode it was pretty much just the fight. It was the fight with the Tokito or whatever his name is,
Yeah,
and
Tokito in
then
the beginning.
it was the fight with Tanjiro, or like those two different scenes, and then it switched between them a little bit, but it was mostly just that. So, but yeah, but I was the same. I was left with Demon Slayer Blue Balls, so. It
I,
def-
I,
I because of how it's done, I feel like this is gonna be the type of season that at least for a section of it, it's gonna be better to kind of binge,
Oh,
especially after it's
absolutely.
done. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah,
I
no.
probably rewatched the whole thing afterwards too. Like, and when I've been telling about people about Demon Slayer lately, this is a good episode that will show you like why the animation's so good. Because, like, first of all, that vase demon blood art with the
Fish.
fish,
The koi
they
fish is
look
good.
so beautiful,
Yes.
creepy. But beautiful, like creepy but
Yes.
beautiful. Like I think that was like the first intro scene, right? Yeah, because you're just watching the fish flapping around, like trying to eat, like attack that little kid.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I think I even had it on, and I was just like, Kara was kind of glancing, and it's like, what? Like, it's like this big old fish. It looks so beautiful. It's like 3D rendered, and then everything else is
Yeah.
like 2D animation. And man,
No.
and that wasn't the only thing. That was just the first thing that you saw was just that 3D rendered giant ass koi fish.
Dude, at the one
Magic
time
Koi.
frame when when they're all attacking the village, when they're all attacking the village, like it kind of gave me Attack on Titan vibes because it was just kind
Yeah.
of like these huge monsters attacking all the villagers, and like I expected a lot of blood, and I don't think I even
I
saw them
know.
bite anybody, so that kind of surprised me, a little disappointed me, just because again, just from Attack on Titan, I'm used to like big monsters attacking villages and everybody getting slaughtered.
It's funny that you say that because I did have that question. I'm like, we had talked about it before, so about how the Swordsmith village, not necessarily it's like sacred, but it's definitely a secret, and we really don't know. Like we saw one Swordsmith die already, and that's the one that got sucked into the vase. Other than that, we really haven't seen anybody else like die, really, right? So
No,
then I was
no.
wondering that too. I'm like, man, are these guys gonna be so like they don't like the show doesn't want to kill them off because they're so like they're the swordsmiths and stuff like that. Yeah, but you're right, Carlos. Like I saw that scene that was really like kind of like it was really great and it was doing stuff, but yeah, no one was getting eaten, which is a little
No.
sad.
Yeah, especially after the last episode, like we saw that guy get gruesomely murdered. So I don't know what the show, if the show's a little bit worried, or maybe the manga really didn't have anybody get killed. But from what I remember, dude, a lot of people like died in the village. So hopefully that's something that we'll get to see a little bit more because they can't save everybody, man. Like these demon
No.
slayers, like, and you saw that the swordsmiths, they're not really like used to battle, so I don't even think they can really go against any of these like koi sword demons.
So then
Magic cards.
who are the magic arms. Who's taking all the beating is freaking Nezuko and freaking what's it, Genya, man. They were
Genya,
taking
yeah.
all the beating in the episode. Well, and then Tanjiro too, right? But like Tanjiro was doing pretty. I felt like Tanjiro's fight was really great. Because I mean, again, remember how last episode we were recording this? I was like, "Oh my god, who's gonna save Tanjiro? No one. Tanjiro's got it himself, man. He doesn't need any love Hashira. Like he's got it."
Well, dude, we finally got the review in the beginning that I guess we were kind of right. It is gonna be like different emotions that the demon has split off into, and maybe you guys can help me because we got joy, we got anger, and we got what I think it's
Sadness.
sadness
Yeah.
or sadness or compassion. What is the other one? Because it's kind of like he's also a very laughter kind of demon. So I'm like, what could that other one be?
I don't
The
know.
fourth
Yeah,
emotion,
I was wondering the exact same thing because the flying one, that one's joy.
joy,
The other one that was fighting
electricity.
yeah,
It's
no,
yeah,
the
That's
stabbing one.
anger.
Yeah, yeah,
anger. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Electricity is anger. The one that stabbed the other dude is sadness, and then I don't know what the other one is.
Yeah, the leaf one. It's kind of weird because he acts too happy for me to kind of pinpoint it. So I'm a little bit curious as to what his thing is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
they
know.
did say now, obviously how like they already kind of identified for them, and I mean I've been hearing around that there's maybe six, who knows? But like even just the fact that there's four, and then Tanjiro finally discovered at least one of the secrets is that I guess as you cut them down, there's only much they can replicate, right? Like you cut the original one, that original one replicates into like few of those emotions, but then that single emotion demon cannot replicate so much because he got that joy one a couple
Yeah.
times, right? I think he had it like down to like three, to the point where it was just like the feet that were like freaking transforming into the little heads. And then once he did slash that last one, he looked back at the sword and he's like, where'd he go? And then he's like, oh, not only did they like kind of start dissipating after a while, but then they get weaker too as the
Yeah.
individual emotion gets like cut down. That was pretty cool. Because then it
Yeah.
just goes to show you that they're not like completely like gonna just complete
I,
multiply and stuff.
I have a quick suggestion for you guys because, like, I mean, we can name them by their emotions. Definitely, that's a good way of like not memorizing their actual Japanese name. But I got a feeling that I'm gonna call this demon once we're done with the season. Like, to me, he's gonna be referred to as like the Inside Out demon, just because it reminds me of that Pixar movie. So I'm gonna so if you guys hear me calling him the Inside Out demon, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Pixar movie. So that's my little nickname for him. For the upper four.
And
Dude,
again, it's not
seriously,
that we're
yeah,
it's not that we're unwilling to learn these names. It's just like, come on, like that's everyone listening. You don't need to worry about the names. Well, we got you. We'll make new ones up for you.
yeah. Because in Inside Out, you had joy, you had sadness, you had anger. Was there another one?
Discuss.
Oh, disgust. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be funny if that one was discuss because then it would be like totally accurate.
The leaf one.
Yeah, the leaf one. No, but it surprised me that when Nezuko grabbed the leaf and used it against that one demon himself, like I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like I didn't think you would be able to do that because then that kind of tells me that you can also grab the electricity staff and maybe do some electricity stuff with it.
Yo, I'm still not over her blood art. Like the fact that she can incinerate her blood. Like that's so cool
Wait.
because she did that. Like
Is it just her blood or is it like
it's
blood in general?
it's her blood from what I thought, because I think in every other episode that she's done it, it's been like her blood, because I think it's always like splashed out
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
able to like incinerate it, like make
Yeah.
it obviously catch on fire. And this time,
Combust.
like
Yeah.
it was combust, and then it was just so good, like especially when it start consuming everything. But man, like that's another one too. Like there was a couple great scenes, and that's all it was. This whole episode was great scenes. Like when she freaking kicks him, doesn't quite decapitate him,
Yup.
but that demon like realizes that she's pretty strong. Like she was like, "What the heck? Like what's such power behind this kick?"
Yeah, because I mean, the one thing about her, if you remember, like she can like recover or recuperate her limbs like instantly. So like I was waiting for that when like the guy ripped something from her. Like I'm like, oh, she's gonna have that arm in a second back. Just you wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Genya too, man. Genya had like some really great scenes because, well, first of all, again, we started this last episode, right? Like for me and Raul, we still don't fully know what his deal is, but we really got to see it more, right? Like he gets stabbed through like a freaking critical
Vital
point.
part, yeah.
Yeah, vital part. He's like ready to freaking die, and
And he's just like,
to our surprise and to their surprise, dude just wakes up, pulls up his gun, and shoots him in the head. Like that's awesome.
dude, yeah, and he's just saying some sort of incantation or prayer
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
something, and like they comment on it, but like who knows what it is? So
Carlos.
I wonder
No.
if it's some sort of like spell that's
Carlos knows what it
curing him
is.
or something.
No, and I'm honestly surprised that they're dragging it on this much because I would love for you guys to like know what exactly he's doing. But I mean, it's cool. It's kind of cool the fact that this guy's human, and that's the one advantage they've been saying like, hey, when you're a demon, you can get stabbed, you can like your limbs can come off, but no matter what, you'll always have the same level of energy. You'll never get tired. That's the advantage of becoming a demon. So it's kind of interesting that like now they're fighting this human, which they're stabbing, and like he still continues to move and continues to fight. So it's like, oh shit! It almost seems like he's also a demon, but he's clearly not. He's human 100%.
And we don't know that. It doesn't seem that way animore. Like I can't believe
I don't know
it.
what he is.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't know what he is. But like, no, that's
Maybe he's a homunculus. No, I'm kidding.
homunculus. There you go.
No, well, I mean, bro, like I know you, like I think I caught you by surprise when I told you that his brother was the Wind Hashira, but like I mean, the show in the beginning they dropped those hints for you to like grab the pieces and like have that reveal. So it wasn't like so it was like little pieces. So I mean, like I don't know, man. It's just interesting because like like I want you guys to meet the Wind Hashira because I was telling you guys that I went back to the episode where Tanjiro meets all the Hashiras, dude, and they're all fucking assholes. Even the Wind Hashira, his shirt.
He's the worst.
He's the worst, but his shirt in the back, it literally says kill. Like he has like a big letter and it's like it translates into like kill. So it's like, dude, like he's just such a fucking asshole. And like even his little brother is a little bit of an asshole. So it's like, yeah, dude, I want you guys to like see that combination of both of them in the same room.
Is that the guy that stabbed the box?
Yeah, that's the guy that stabbed the box.
What an asshole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know who was the biggest asshole? Not to like get too much off this episode specifically, but the Earth Pillar, the ground or Earth. I think that is his thing, like Earth Pillar. He was the biggest fucking the monk, the one that cries, the one that's like lying.
Yeah.
Dude, he was the biggest asshole. The stone Hashira. He was the biggest asshole to Tanjiro. He's like, oh, that kid is so pitiful. We should just kill him. Oh, that kid's been possessed. Like we should just like kill him. I'm like, dude, like, can you fucking stop saying kill Tanjiro? Like every one of his words were like, oh, we need to kill him. I'm like, holy fuck. And I know why he's like that, but it just surprised me that like the number one, the one that seems to be like you would think is the most compassionate would be so like, oh, we need to murder this kid while crying. But yeah, no, it's just funny, man. But
and it's funny because again we were trying not to get too distracted with some of these things, but like between Genya and his brother the Wind Hashira, like I'm starting to wonder, are these things really scars? Because him and his brother both have like the same scar marking, and Tanjiro has what seems like a birthmark, but I've seen, didn't that birthmark like flare before, like it kind of spread a little bit. So obviously, and then even like Nezuko, when she kind of powers up too, she has that leaf like kind of IV wrapping that she gets around her body. Like some really cool things, man. I think this is what this show is. It still has me guessing so many things. Like I don't know everything about it. Every time that I watch it, there's something new. I'm still really fascinated with this demon that they're fighting right now because I think like every bit of it, and as they're discovering that these guys are not like super easy to kill, I think is just really enjoyable because I love that whole like shock of like, holy crap.
Well, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but the reason why I went back to that episode with all the pillars when Tanjiro meets all the pillars was because I was wondering if the Mist pillar was even in that lineup. Because it's like you kind of get that introduction in this episode where he's not recruited, but he's like lying, almost dying, or he's trying to survive, and then the master's like, hey, all you need to do is live, and if you live, everything's gonna be okay. So that kind of made me wonder, like, oh, when did this kid Tokito get recruited? So that's the reason why I went back and watched that episode. And just FYI, he was there. He was just kind of being like silly, like looking at the clouds and making things like, oh, I'll forget this. And he was just being very like forgetful and not really caring that what was happening. So it was kind of funny to even see that.
And you're, I mean, not right in a sense, but yeah, there was the part in this episode too where they had the little flashback of like him being kind of unconscious and then him being told like, hey, like you will remember, like you will regain your memory by what's his name, Kagaya, like the main Hashira. Yeah. And it's just
the master.
Yeah, the master. And I'm just like, even then, because I'm like, I guess I didn't realize, or maybe I forgot that he forgot his like he lost his memory, and so part of it is like he's still trying to figure out who he is. And then we already know a little bit too that he's a descendant of the freaking sun breathers. So it's like I don't know, that guy just has so much. Like I think the episode was named after him too, right? It was like thank you, like Tokito or something. Tokito,
thank you, Tokito.
Yeah. Which I know I had to do more with that first interaction that he had with the Swordsmith kid, maybe. But in general, yeah, still really fascinated by him too.
Yeah, no, I'm also kind of intrigued on like where they're going, and like why it's so important that the Swordsmith not be interrupted. as he's trying
that's
to
another cool thing.
fix the thing. Yeah, because like he was so the kid was so adamant about like, oh, you got to go help him because if he's interrupted, then he's not gonna be able to do like finish renovating or what I forgot what word they used the sword. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
like restoring.
yeah,
Yeah.
restoring. Yeah, but the Hashira doesn't even know what sword it is or doesn't really know anything
Yeah.
about it because he wasn't around. But he's just
But
doing it
see,
anyway.
Because Ramon, you mentioned that you're really excited for the next episode because the name of it is like excites you because I think
the
it's
bright
distinctly
red. Yeah.
bright red sword. So I know the kid was trying to give it to Tanjiro, but do you think that the Mist Pillar is going to actually get input? And I don't know. I honestly
Oh
don't
man,
remember.
fuck
No,
that guy.
do you think
Yeah.
do you think the Mist Pillar is going to get it? Because think about it, like he's a descendant. This could be like the original sword of the first like fire breeder. Do you think it would make sense for all of a sudden for him to like wield that sword?
No, it does not make sense. And that wouldn't be the honorable thing to do, man. He's he's a Hashira, right? Even though that it seems like all these Hashiras, except for the love Hashira so far, they're all pretty much like a little bit of jerks, right? Like they're very much like not that they think they're better than everyone else, but they know they're pretty good and they're like better than most. So it's like there's some sort of a condescending attitude that they all have, and yes, they're possibly Tokito might be like, oh my god, you discovered that in their doll, like that's belongs to me because I am descendant of these people. But no, I mean, I think if he was like any sort of honorable like Hashira or just honorable warrior, freaking Tanjiro got that fair and square. Like he's the one that broke the doll to that point, that he was able to discover the sword. But I did like that scene too because it was very much like you're seeing that Tokito at this point is very much kind of leading or living by Tanjiro's kind of advice. Like, at this point, he still knows that he needs to get back to the village. He still knows that he needs to like help out Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya. But at the same time, he's like, man, this kid really wants me to like go and see what this is about. Like, I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna trust that the fate or like everything. And then that's when he had that flashback about his thing because he had like the little bit of memory, like he recovered a little bit of that memory. And I don't know, like that's just I think it's the story is developing beautifully. And yes, I'm really excited about the next episode just based off the name because I hope he gets the sword and he uses it right away. Right? And I hope it's not one of those that at the very end he gets the sword, right? But I think that's what it is. I just want to see that sword. I want to see what the sword's about. I want to see what else they talk about the sword, or even see how shiny red it is.
Yeah, and then
No.
also at the end of this episode, you saw the love Hashira running over there with the crow, saying like, I think she said something about how she's glad that she was stationed so close to the village, and she's just like
Yeah,
running over there.
I mean, she should have known she was close to the village because she just left it. So it's just like funny that she would say that, like, "Oh, I'm so close to the village that I just left like last night." So it's like funny. Did you guys, by any chance, like, I don't often watch the end credit scenes where like they're doing something goofy with the characters.
Yeah.
Oh, like yeah. So like I go ahead.
No, I'm gonna keep going. I'll follow.
No, I was just saying, like, I thought it was a little funny because he gave you a little bit more background about like her, the love, Hashira, and how like the
painting.
one doll she was painting was like, oh, no, nobody will love you because you have pink hair, you like to eat, and I forget what the
You're
third
too
thing
strong.
was, but it was just kind of like funny. You're
You're
too
too strong. But even more so, like she's just kind of an artist, and this is something about like art school and then grad school or some like secondary school, and I'm like, well, like that's more deep than we took her for, right? Not just because she's always like gushing over guys and finding her husband that you just kind of didn't think that she was that level of deep. But that was a really cute episode. I don't always, I mean, I watch those for these that are coming out, and we're watching them weekly. But I could tell you when I watch like Naruto and a couple other ones that I've been catching up, I don't stay for those.
Nope.
Dude, but I was gonna like, when the season started, I mentioned like how I did not like the Love Husher, and I did say like, watch me like her by the end of it, and I think it's happening. I think I'm falling in love for the Love Husher, and I'm like, is that her power? Like, can she legitimately make other people fall in love with her?
I'm like, she hasn't done enough for you to start falling in love, so I think it's other stuff. But
No, no. I think the eating part was like, oh yeah, who doesn't like a girl that can eat and strong like shit. Like yesterday when my brother-in-law was here at the house, he did something like for me that I couldn't do because I'm not strong enough. So it's like I can definitely see the benefit of having a strong woman around.
And you know what? I think in general, I'm really excited for her to join the fight. And again, it seems like okay at this point. Like Tanjiro already has some more idea of like what's going on. Oh yes, I really love the way that he got the freaking Joy Demon back. Like how he got himself to take him back because Tanjiro freaking thinking on his feet, right? He like thinks like, oh, I need to get back to the tower. I need to get back to the village, and he's thinking like, oh, he's flying around. If I use the momentum of like him flying, like he's gonna propel me back over there. And he does. Like he tricks him and he gets him to like basically like fly him over there, and that's when he starts like in the midst of being in the air, he's discovering all these crazy things about him, right? He's super light because he's flying, so he has to be light. Like birds are super light, but like their bones are like kind of hollow and really so and then he gets there, and then he did that whole thing where he kind of kept the foot so that when the dude with the lightning rod was like doing it, he used it as a freaking ground, like a ground thing, so that he wouldn't get electrocuted. Like, dude, my boy Tanjiro again, like coming up with these like smart, like super quick on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, even the demon was impressed. He's like, oh man, like I gotta watch out for this guy because he can definitely think in the middle of battle. And I mean, that must be hard, obviously, as you're fighting to be all of a sudden coming with like plans and ideas. So yeah, claps to like Tanjiro.
Well,
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, we've just been noticing that this whole season because in the very beginning, when that demon originally came into that room, Tanjiro was the first one to notice it, right? It wasn't even Tokito. Like Tokito was like being a Hashira and everything, didn't even realize that right away. I mean, soon after, but Tanjiro was the first one to like say there's someone outside, and then it was like immediate, right? So that's dude, it's just so great to see him, and he already has the Spidey senses action going on.
Dude, I was getting nervous. I just real quick, like I was getting nervous because I know that the anger demon slash Nezuko with the staff through her neck. So then when he did the same thing to like Tanjiro, I'm like, fuck, like dude, did he just like stab him through the neck? And then when I saw that he didn't, it kind of like caused me to pause. Like, why didn't he stab him? And then you find out that Nezuko was holding the staff. So I was like, oh, thank God, because I was like seriously thinking like, why didn't he get stabbed?
No, yeah, and the other thing that I'm kind of that I kind of want to see is with the love Hashira. Like I want to see how they animate her breathing and stuff like that, because like with like the water breathing, the fire breathing, the electric and all that, we've seen all of those. And even with the mist, we kind of saw him do it a little bit once, but with the love Hashira, I wonder how it's gonna look and how they're gonna do it, because like each one is a
Flowers
little bit
and
differently.
hearts.
Yeah, dude, I gotta ask you guys like a legit question. Like, are they like just bullshitting on like their names and stuff? Like the love Hashira, the insect Hashira, the Miss Hashira, the sound Hashira. Are these all like fucking made up things that they just, or like is there legitimately like a clan and there was a master before her, and so she got her training from a former master? Cause like I can believe the flame, the lightning, some of these other elemental ones, yeah, but like it's like we met the water, we met the electricity former Hashira, we met the former flame Hashira. So it's like I know there has been like some of these other masters, but for some of these I'm starting to call bullshit, man. I feel like some of them are just coming up with like, you know what, I feel like I can do some kind of miss thing, so I'm just gonna call myself like the Miss Hashira. Like I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, it makes me think very much. Oh, we were talking about freaking Avatar: The Last Airbender, and how like in the Legend of Korra, like all their like powers and their bending abilities get like kind of morphed, and they kind of get elevated. They're doing like blood bending, they're doing freaking metal bending, like all this crazy stuff, lava bending. And I think it's kind of maybe similar, right? Like there's the original like elements and like the basics, and then I feel like eventually someone got bored and like, you know what? Those serpents are kind of talking to me. I'm not in Harry Potter, so I'm gonna be your stepper in Hashira.
That would make sense if the mist is a combination of like flame and water.
Yeah.
So that actually makes fucking perfect sense. So I like that. There you go. That's why I asked these dumb questions.
No, but then you're right. What about the insect? What about the serpent Hashira? Like, what about those guys?
Dude, the serpent. Dude, I can promise you with the serpent.
Yeah.
No. Here's the thing. I fucking I hate I hate the serpent Hashira. I hate him so fucking much. It's his fucking Foot Locker appearance that I hate. But like, dude, the serpent Hashira is bullshit. Like that one, I can promise you. Like, once you find out his like story, it is fucking bullshit. He's the original like serpent Hashira. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, can you just come up with your own abilities and name? So it's like it gets me a little bit curious about like how these Hashiras become certain names.
Well, you have the dude with the boar head, and he does what, the nature breathing or something, or
Nasuke, yeah.
He's like a beast, right? Like that would be his thing, like
beast
beast
whatever,
pillar.
yeah. So
it's interesting.
I feel like some of them are kind of like just unique to that person, but
Okay.
I feel like you have the base Hashiras that are like all the elements, and then you have like the unique ones that kind of developed on their own.
That's cool, man. I feel like maybe the show will deep into that a little bit because I would love it. I would love that kind of stuff. Hey guys, so like another thing that I was kind of wondering is, Ramon, you mentioned that Tanjiro is actually fighting like the bird, the joy demon on his own, and something that was a little bit curious is, or is he able to fight him off because of the fact that they've split into four different demons? So technically, instead of having the one power or the one upper four moon, that power is being split into like four separate demons. So hence, they're not even really fighting like a true upper moon. Do you think there's a possibility that as the episodes progress, that we could get like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger situation where they're gonna combine again? They're gonna combine again and form some other kind of emotion or one powerful demon. Because I feel like right now the fact that they're splitting is actually hurting them or working against them. Maybe not now, but I think once the Love Hashira gets in, I think that is going to end up hurting them because like I still don't think Tanjiro is strong enough to take on an upper moon by himself. So that's why it kind of like surprises me that he's able to actually put up a fight with it.
I mean, it seemed like his original split offs are pretty strong. I mean, like you've seen the stuff they kind of do. Like, you have the guy with the fan, like that fan freaking threw freaking
Tanjiro
the
and
Miss
Nezuko
Hashira. Yeah.
on the
The
Hashira
Miss
too.
Hashira threw some like super far away, right? Then you have like the one with the freaking electric staff, like that's been doing pretty crazy stuff. So like it seems like those are pretty strong enough. And like I mean, so far from what we've seen when they combine, they create that pitiful like version of himself. But so
Yeah,
maybe not that kind of like Power Rangers, like freaking Megazord type of assembling.
yeah,
But I think you're right. I think there's something to be said about like, oh, maybe just because at this point, like Tanjiro has split the Joy Demon like up so much, like obviously he knows that he's been able to take them and definitely outwit them quite a bit.
yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe when you do have them grouped up, right? But even there, the one with the electricity staff keeps on getting so frustrated at everyone else because they can't handle their own. But even then, he was struggling with Nezuko too. So
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like how he was able to pull up a second staff from his own body. So that was kind of cool because like I'm like, oh, that's where it's coming from.
oh yeah, he did. He did make it kind of come out, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Naruto a little bit with Obito, with
Oh
Toby,
yeah,
Obito, it's staff.
yeah.
yeah,
Or
and
Pain actually, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Pain and Madara did
Pain.
it too. He would take out his
Yeah.
like rods
Oh
to
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
fucking
But he ended
rods.
up yeah, he had this freaking rods, and that's how he got everybody down. The second Hokage, like you got impale him on the ground. Yeah.
No, yeah. With that demon, I think the big thing about it is that they're probably like really hard to kill when it's all four of them together. Because if you think about it, like Tanjiro can handle the Joy one kind of by himself, but as soon as he got back, that's when he like struggled because you had all the other three right there, and then they kind
Yeah,
of got all the angles, and they all work a little bit differently. So, it was kind of too hard for them. But there is going to be two Hashiras coming, and if you think about it, the number six that they killed, it was the San Hashira. It was Tanjiro, Inosuke, and then the other scared dude.
yeah.
So it
What
took
Yeah.
what
all
did
of them
I,
to kill that one.
Well, dude, I've always said that the upper six moon to me was a lot stronger than the fifth one. And again, we'll see what the fifth one does. Because I mean, we've seen him do his blood art, but I'm still kind of like, how does he fight one on one? That's what I'm really interested in. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm waiting for because so far this has been his little koi fish, like doing all the dirty work.
Yeah.
And that can't be everything he does, right? Like
yeah,
even just
because
the
even
base
his
alone sucked up that one dude. So
because his form is kind of weird. It's like, how do you fight that, or what does he do for like actual fighting, or is he just always gonna depend on these like demon blood art kind of situations? So I'm waiting for a little bit more to see more about him.
well,
Uh,
maybe that's what the Love Hashira when she gets there. Maybe that's the fight that we're looking. Because I was thinking that too. Once the Love Hashira gets there, what is she gonna do? Just like completely help? Like, is that upper four gonna just die because everybody's gonna gang up on him? Or I think yeah, at that point probably that upper five is gonna get there like himself or be there himself, and then stop playing around with the fish and just kind of do something on his own. And I don't know. Like I'm sure it's gonna get crazy, man. I'm so excited.
Mm.
No, man. So these are the things that I'm calling. I definitely feel like the emotion demon has a little bit something more extra up his sleeves. Like we'll maybe see another emotion or they will combine something a little bit extra. And then I don't know. I don't really know what to expect with the fifth one, the fifth upper moon. Like his art, that's all I'm really seeing right now. So we'll see how that fights. I think his fight's gonna be mostly focused with the mist, and that's how they're like putting it. Especially if the mist goes to like rescue everybody else. And then I just kind of wanted to kind of like ask you guys, like, I mean, is there anything else as far as like, do you guys think there's anything that's like the show's letting you down on, or it's just like at this point it's just been a full blast for you guys? Because I mean, it's surprisingly it's like already episode 4, man, and I'm having a lot of fun with this.
Well, I'm enjoying it a lot. I mean, I am a little sad that freaking Zenitsu and Inosuke's they're not there. But at the same time, it's too crowded if they were there too. Because then it's definitely ridiculous because you have like the Miss Hashira, you have freaking the Love Hashira coming, you have Genya. So like it would be a ridiculous amount of people.
Yeah, and then you have the Swordsmiths too. That you're gonna have to deal with them as characters as well. So
I mean, hey, freaking get the mechanical doll back to life and he'll whoop everybody.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this, Ramon. That technology has been lost because Raul mentioned how you cannot recreate a doll from 300 years ago to all over, again. So
he's tried.
Something that somebody pointed out to me because I was a little bit curious about how the ranking for the upper moons worked, but somebody said in another podcast that I was listening to that the ranking is based on what upper demon has less humanity in them. Do you guys recall hearing anything about that? Because I'm like, that would kind of make sense on why the number 2 was able to surpass the number 3, because there is a reason why I would feel the number 3 has a little bit more humanity in him. But I wasn't sure if you guys caught that or have heard anything about that. Okay.
Yeah,
no, I don't think that's been mentioned at all. Yeah, which is kind of like an awesome concept because I mean, thus far, like it is pretty difficult to kind of like wonder why they get so good. I thought it was based on like the amount of people that they've killed, maybe how many Hashiras they've killed, or just kind of in general, like just how strong they are. But it is really surprising because you love Akasa, but at the same time too, it's like he did some crazy stuff. But I still think like this upper 4, like in his ability to multiply, like it's crazy. So it's like to me, it's like, oh man, well, who's really better unless you have them like fighting each other? So it's pretty difficult to know like why they're ranked that way. And man, that would be a great way of like judging that.
But yeah, I mean, like upper 4 has all these like emotions, and he's actually wearing his emotions on his sleeves. So it's like kind of like you would think he would be ranked less because he's showing the most humanity because he has all these humanity emotions. So like, I don't know, man. I just kind of like thought that was interesting if that was the case, and maybe I'll look it up and confirm on the next episode.
Well, and Raul mentioned this before because I think he asked a question like, oh, how many other like freaking demon slayers might be in that village? Which now we're finding out that there's probably none other than the guys that were already there. But it's just like, I don't know, like all these upper ranks are up there for a reason because we've seen other demons that are not as strong. They're still killing some demon slayers, right? Like when they were in the forest with the spider demons, like all them, they were all struggling, right? Like half of them were like dead or they were captured, and so like I'm just thinking of like maybe they are upper, but I think it's because we're following the story of like Tanjiro and all them. We are failing to see how strong they are because these are the formidable opponents, right? Obviously, that's what we're watching it for. We're watching it for Tanjiro and these guys' journey. But I think maybe if we put the upper 4 in like a general population, maybe some like regular demon slayers, like I'm sure they wouldn't stand a chance against like half of these guys.
Oh no, definitely! Like those koi fish army would like destroy all of them. I am confident of that.
All the Magikarp. I think I'm just gonna keep calling them Magikarp.
Well, then I'm excited to see the Gyarados.
The Gyarados transformation with him. No, man. Well, I mean, this has been great, man. I love talking to you guys because when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, there's not much maybe to talk about because I just left me again. I wasn't like I wanted to see that second episode so much bad, the continuation of that 5th episode. But no, man, talking to you guys definitely. I think we dug into some really deep stuff. So no, really glad that we decided to do this episode and next see what the next one holds for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the next one's gonna have a little bit more meat to it. Probably that's a little bit different from this because it'll follow the story a little bit more, and you'll actually get to see the sword. Hopefully.
Nice. I might come to the next recording with the katana. I'm gonna come in with the red katana, and then we'll see.
Dude, I saw somebody that bought what's your favorite character's name? The beautiful one.
Inosuke, yeah.
Inosuke. I saw somebody that had Inosuke's like swords, like like he must have bought them somewhere. And like, dude, they look so cool because like
not practical.
Not practical, but just like the edges and the chainsaw part of it actually made me kind of like be like, oh, that's actually a really, really cool. So, and just the fact that he has 2 of them, I guess I never give him credit, but he has 2 of them. That's kind of badass.
But it's funny that you mentioned that too, because it's like swords is one thing that I have like a bunch of knives all over the house. I have a couple swords, but I haven't bought any swords after these like anime. But in Naskis are the ones that I wanted. But then I think just the idea of having them and the practicality of them are like insignificant. Like there's no way that you would really be able to slash anything with them. I mean, I'm sure they have an edge, but like things will get caught. Things will get, things will get messy, but I guess that's kind of the fun part of it, right? So I don't know,
So
maybe that'll
brutal.
be a set to get.
Well,
Yeah.
well, dude, I bought Sasuke's sword, which I'll show it to you. Like it's in the background, but you probably can't see it. But I bought Sasuke's sword, and I can promise you, when I used to live in my townhome, I would have that underneath my bed, and if I heard something, I would grab motherfucking Sasuke's sword, and I would go down there and check shit out. So like, trust me, you can use them to defend yourself. You might not kill them or stab them, but you can definitely hit somebody over the head. And sure, the sword might break after that, but still, you'll get one good blow on them.
Well, there you go. Then I'll get in Nasuke's swords, and well, we'll see who wins, Nasuke or Sasuke.
Your wife is gonna end up in the hospital. That's what's gonna happen. All right, man. Well, this has been Carlos, and I'm heading out, guys. All right.
Hey, see you guys.
Peace.
All right.